And we're back again. This is the Great Classic Rock Debate. I'm Kenny.
I'm Paul, and this time I have a little bit of qualifications for only this show.
All right, good.
And I'm Steve.
All right, and so tonight we're going to do something a little bit different. It's not going to be so much a classic rock thing. I'm going to tell a story that happened over 40 years ago, and I've told this story many times in my life, and it has it's very entertaining, and I've been told over and over again. It's a great story, so I hope that everybody who hears it will appreciate it. And if you guys have any questions or comments along the way, please don't hesitate, because I think that kind of adds to the fun. So I'm going to start by going all the way back to 1978 when I was a freshman at Auburn. And Paul, we mentioned this once before. At that time, Auburn was on the quarter system, not semester, and classes started
like September the 18th
in the second half of September. Yeah, I think it's September 20th or something like that. Okay. Now I want to emphasize, in 1978, I was a freshman. I was 17. I have a late birthday, and being a freshman at Auburn in Southern Alabama, having grown up in South Florida, I really felt like a fish out of water. You know, I was really out of place. So, and I told you guys that I tried to find a radio station that I felt connected with to sort of bring me, back into reality. And I ultimately settled on this station, Y102, that was out of Montgomery. They played a nice, I would call it like a top 40 mix. They had kind of the crazy, zany DJs, but the main thing for me, they played full-length album versions, not 3-minute radio edits. And at that time, Steely Dan's Deacon Blues was popular. That song is 7.5 minutes long, and they played the full 7.5 minutes. And I knew right then, this is the station I'm going to listen to. Okay, well, within 2 weeks after class starts, it's now October, and Y102 has gone full blast into Halloween mode, and they are playing these promos every 10 minutes for their Y102 haunted house, which they do every year. It's an annual thing. They do it the month of October. I think it's probably only open on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. I think it's not open during the week. But anyway, they also emphasize that all the money raised goes to charity. And they play these promos. And I got to tell you, I'm a 17-year-old kid. Those promos sounded so fun. I'm like, man, I would love to go to that. I didn't have a car, and I didn't really know anybody yet. So trying to find, Auburn's about an hour from Montgomery. So trying to find somebody who's willing to drive to Montgomery and to do something that I want to do that they might not want to do. It's an uphill battle. Now, here's the best part of these promos that they were playing constantly, okay? They would emphasize the money's for charity. We give it all to charity. It's for a good cause. We want everybody to come out. The doorman, all right? The guy who stands there at the doorman, he's been doing this for, 15 or 20 years, whatever. He has never smiled once. And if you can make this guy smile, you will win a Y102 haunted house t-shirt. You get the t-shirt for free. Otherwise, the t-shirt's like $8 or something, but you get the t-shirt for free. But for me, did you guys ever see that old episode of I Love Lucy, where she's at, I think she's at Buckingham Palace, and there's a couple of those royal guards out there, and she's trying to make them smile, and they remain stone-faced. She's really acting a clown, and nothing that they won't flinch. They don't even blink, right? I guess in my mind, that's kind of what I was picturing. I don't know. I have no idea what this guy looks like. I don't know what he's wearing. All I know is people try to make him smile. And in 15 or 20 years, whatever, he's never smiled once. They have never given away one free t-shirt. So in my mind, first of all, I want to go because this sounds like fun, number one. And number two, no one has ever been able to make this guy smile. So I want to be the first. And I have no idea what my strategy is going to be. but I want to make this guy smile. I mean, winning the t-shirt is great, but that's not really the important part. I want to make this guy smile because he's never smiled. I think right about here, I can also add, Paul and I have known at least one and probably more than one human being who are superhuman when it comes to holding a straight face under any circumstances. And I just don't, I'm fairly good at it, but I'm not that good. So sometimes I don't see how people do this, right? When you've got absurdity going on in front of you and you just show no emotion. I mean, it's a gift. It really is. So anyway, I couldn't find anybody who was willing to go. And so my freshman year sort of came and went, and I didn't make it to the haunted house. By my sophomore year, I have a car. So I can drive the hour drive to Montgomery and go to this haunted house if I want to, but I don't want to go by myself. So I'm asking around, and nobody's interested. In fact, they're even sort of looking down their nose at me as if, what are you, 6 years old?
Yeah.
You know, like it's the kiddie ride at the pet zoo or something, you know? And I'm going, man, I can't believe nobody wants to go. Because once again, the radio is playing the promos constantly, and they won't relent with this doorman who has never smiled. And I'm like, come on, guys, somebody has to be the first to make him smile. And I want to at least have a crack at it, right? So my junior year comes and goes, exact same thing. Nobody wants to go. And I wasn't dating anybody or whatever. Because if I had been, I would have just forced her against her will to go with me
to the haunted house.
Yeah, to go to the haunted house, right? Right. Let's make that part clear. Yeah. So it's such a bummer because I'm 3 years invested now just by hearing these promos, and I still haven't been. And next thing you know, Halloween's passed, and it's like, wow, I missed out again. And a year from now, I'm going to be a senior. I'll be graduating. So if I don't make it this next year, I'm not going to go. And I was so excited all of these years about going. So by my senior year, I'm dating a girl whose name is Trish. And I'm going to describe her, but Paul, you met her. So, and you even knew her. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know.
So first of all, if I say anything that's not accurate as far as your recollection, please correct me. And secondly, feel free to add anything to my description. Okay. So Trish was probably about 5'5". She was a nice looking girl with really beautiful blue eyes. And she was athletic. She was in good shape. And
she was well endowed.
Yes. And the best, probably the best thing that I can say about her is, I mean, aside from she was good looking, but she never once turned up her nose at any sort of suggestion. Like if I wanted to go see this movie, she didn't go, okay, that sounds stupid. even if it turned out to be a stupid movie, she would still say, let's go, you know? Or if I wanted to go watch this sporting event or let's go for a drive, she would grab a beer and say, let's go. She never, ever was like, I don't want to do that. That sucks, whatever. All right. So when I pitched this idea about driving to Montgomery to go to the haunted house, she was like, sounds like fun. Let's go. And I said, okay, but you haven't really heard everything yet. Getting in the car and going, that's just step one. Okay. So then I fill her in on all the details about the doorman and he's never smiled and whatever. And so she goes, okay, well, you must have something in mind. And I said, that's where you come in. All right. So here's my idea. This guy has heard every knock-knock joke. He's heard every joke in history. And that goes from funny jokes to unfunny jokes. He's heard everything. He's been doing this for 20 years, and there's untold thousands of people every year go through there. He's heard everything that there is to hear, and he has never smiled once. So there is no joke that's going to make him go, oh, that was a funny one. I never heard that. That is not going to happen. All right. So I'm thinking outside the box. I'm like, we need a curveball. We need a strategy that he's not going to see every day, right? So I said to Trish, so here's my idea. And by the way, I'm in Florida, but in Alabama, by the time October rolls around, the nights are getting pretty chilly, all right? Yeah. It's still pretty warm down here right now. So by the time Halloween rolls around, the nights are pretty chilly. It probably was in the 40s, upper 40s or so that night. I remember bundling up, but it wasn't crazy cold. So I said to her, here's what I want to do. We're going to go to the thing. We're going to get in line, whatever. And you have a jacket on, you know, we're bundled up, but underneath the jacket, don't wear a bra and have your shirt pre-opened. So when we go to meet this doorman guy, I want you to basically just flash him. All right. Now, listen, a lot of girls would have said, you're out of your mind, find somebody else. But I knew Trish, she would never turn up her nose. And so she smiled and said, let's do it. So I'm like, we're going to do this. So I've been waiting all these years to go to this haunted house. I've been waiting all these years to see this doorman, and I am going to make this dude smile. Okay. I'm going to win a free t-shirt, which no one has ever won before. And I'm going to do all this stuff. Or actually, she's really going to do the 99%. She's doing the dirty work, but I thought it up, you know, so I'm going to take credit, but she's going to do all the work. So we get in the car and we drive to Montgomery. Again, it's about an hour. So we're drinking on the way over there. Got a few beers in the car. It takes forever to find this place. We had some rudimentary directions. Keep in mind, there's no Google Maps, there's no GPS, there's none of that stuff. You get directions and then you try to follow them. And oh my God, you drive and drive and drive. And you stop at gas stations and say, okay, we're lost. Can you help us? It takes forever, but we finally find this place. Okay. And I'm going to assume that the radio station just purchased an old dilapidated house and probably paid pennies on the dollar for it. And then, you know, turned it into a haunted house or whatever. But they had lots of parking. And although the line was a mile long, oh my God, it was so long. The first thing you think when you see that line is, uh-oh, maybe we should go home. Look how long this is. It moves pretty fast. They move the people in and out of that haunted house pretty fast. And by the time we had actually gone through it, I see why. I mean, in the universe of haunted houses, this is not one of the better ones, okay? There's a guy running around with a chainsaw that has no chain on it. And it was a lot of cringy kind of, it wasn't scary at all.
But again, was the chainsaw running?
It's running, yeah. So it's loud. Okay. It's loud.
Yeah.
You know, so you get the effect, but
that gets people.
Yeah, I mean, look, it didn't cost much, and you know the money's for charity, so you don't have high expectations, and it's not even why I was there. I wanted to see this doorman, but the haunted house itself doesn't take long, and they do move you through it quickly. So the long line is no reason to be turned away. So we parked, we got in line. Now, as we're in line and the line is moving, you can hear other people in line in front of you and behind you kind of like rehearsing their little comedy routines. Like,
okay, who's there? Okay.
Right. Exactly. And behind us, there were 4 guys together. I call them frat boys. They were all drinking and they looked to be college age. All right. And they had put together what presumably, at least they thought, was an elaborate comedy routine. I think they had written it down and memorized their parts because they were rehearsing it. And she and I were looking at each other like, they really think that this is going to make this guy laugh. And he's been doing this 20 years. He's never laughed once. And I'm standing in front of them in line and it's not funny. It's not that funny, right? So anyway, as we're finally getting closer and closer and closer to the front entrance, finally, after all these years, for the first time now, I can kind of see what the guy looks like. And even though we're still a ways back, he is a large figure. He's got to be 6'5", 6'6". Now, I don't know, maybe he's wearing tall shoes or something. I don't know. But he's a large figure and he's wearing the Grim Reaper cloak. All right. And even though you can't see his face at first, once you get close enough that you can see his face, they've got the white, like white makeup on him. So he looks like a corpse. All right. So he's the Grim Reaper with the white corpse makeup. And now we're getting closer. And now you can see people, you know, you're physically moving around in a way that's intended to, I don't know, make him laugh or smile, whatever. And he's not flinching. He's not blinking. And now we're getting closer. And for the first time, I can see his eyes. Now, here's where things took, I don't know, I'm just going to call it a slightly weird turn. This guy had those black eyes like a great white shark, okay? So at this point, I go, okay, there's something evil. It's no longer just some dude in the Grim Reaper cloak and with white. He now looks scary, which I was not prepared for this part, all right? I'm just thinking he's just some goofball who's very good at not smiling. But now he looks evil and he looks scary. And I'm going, holy crap, look at that guy, you know? So I guess it took me back and I'm going, okay, I don't know what to think now. So now we're getting closer and now we're getting closer. And the few people left in front of us are trying something and it's not working. So the people in front of us, they enter and now I'm up, right? Moment of truth. So I stepped forward and I said, oh, you're that guy I heard about on the radio. And I'm trying to deliberately be goofy and silly, right? Oh, you're that guy I heard about on the radio who doesn't smile or whatever. Yeah, I heard about that. I go, you're probably dying to meet me. My name's Kenny. and I said, but I really want you to meet my girlfriend because she can't wait to meet you. Trish, step forward and say hi to the guy. So she's bundled up, right? So she steps forward. She's grinning. She steps forward and goes, hi there. And she pulls it open and presses them together. And they're just right in his face. Now, oh boy, this guy, his eyes, he practically burned holes through her. I mean, he wasn't just staring at her as in, I'm not smiling. He was staring at her as in, I want to murder you. Okay. It was evil. I swear it was evil. And he turned his head slowly and looked at me. And when he was looking straight at me, I'm not kidding. I felt physically scared because he looked at me as if I want to kill you too. And I know this was your stupid idea. And then, which of course he was right. And then he looked back at her, leaned forward, and with gravel, he had that gravel in his throat. He said, it's going to take a little more than that. He didn't smile. He didn't flinch. He didn't blink. And I was just like, okay, I had already made my mind. Even if this doesn't work, he's going to do something to make it work. He didn't. He didn't. He decapitated both of us, right? And those four guys behind us in line, they're going, scrap the plan, scrap the plan, scrap the plan. Like they just threw their comedy routine out the window. So that was it. I was devastated. So we go inside and we go through the haunted house, which takes 2 minutes or less. It was nothing. But I couldn't, I'm trying to enjoy the non-scary haunted house, but I couldn't get past the fact that we got nothing out of him. That he didn't blink. His eyes didn't get big, nothing. He stayed 100% in character. He didn't go full retard. He stayed in character and he just ruined me. He did. If there's ever been slam dunking in someone's face, he did. And so we go to the haunted house. Now, the way they had this place set up, the exit is right adjacent to the entrance, okay? Even though there's like a separator, when you come out, you're coming out pretty much right where you went in. All right. So as she and I come out, I mean, there's no reason for us to go back and say anything more to him. Like, he won. He won hands down. It was a no contest. So we come out of the exit and we start walking towards the car. And again, it's cold, so we're bundled up. And we're walking along. And I said, you know, even though it didn't work, I'm still glad we came. It was fun. And, had a good time. We didn't know what was going to happen. So she and I are just kind of chuckling, laughing. Now, we got about 40 or 50 yards from the exit. Okay. So we're now sort of walking away from the haunted house, where we're getting towards the parking area. And all of a sudden, I hear this voice behind me say, "I want to talk to you." and when I heard it, I mean, instantly I knew who it was. And I'm not going to lie, I had a moment of fright, because I'm like, holy crap, that voice, he's behind us. So I turn around and there he is. It's the Grim Reaper. And he followed us, and he has not come out of character. He's still got that look on his face like he wants to kill us both. So when I saw him, I go, what do you want? And he points right at me and he goes, "Not you." Oh, honestly, not to be a wuss, but I was kind of relieved that he didn't want me. Okay. So yeah, he goes, "Not you." And I look at Trish and I go, all right, if anyone's dying tonight, I guess it's you. So, right. So he's about 15 feet, 5 yards from us. Okay. So she walks over to him. I guess once you take a moment, you go, okay, he's not really a serial killer. He just plays one. He's not really going to kill anybody. So she walks over to him, and I'm standing there. I'm going, okay, I have no idea what's going on, but I know this is not normal. This guy doesn't leave his post. So he probably told him, hold the line right here and I'll be right back. But he followed us. She walks over to him. Now, keep in mind, we've gotten a little bit away from the haunted house, so it's getting darker now where we are, and it's not well lit, so I can't really see. Plus, he's got that big cloak on. So she walks right up to him, and he bends over. It looked, from where I was, it looked almost like he was whispering something in her ear, but I couldn't tell because the big old cloak was practically covering her too. And if he was whispering into her ear, he just did it for 2 or 3 or 4 seconds and then just turned and was gone. I mean, he didn't say, "You guys drive safe." He didn't say, "Thanks for coming by." He didn't say, "Y'all come back now. You hear?" He didn't say anything. He just turned and was gone. And I'm standing there going, okay, I don't know what's going on, but that was weird. So as he turns and is gone, she turns. Now, she's still bundled up, right? She turns and she's walking back towards me with a big ol' S-eating grin on her face. So now I'm going, okay, now what's going on? So she walks right up to me, smiling, gets right in my face and goes, "Ta-da!" And she's got the T-shirt. Oh. She's got the T-shirt. So he bundled it up like practically into a ball and chased us down to give her the T-shirt. And when he whispered to her, basically what he said was, I didn't hear it, so I'm paraphrasing, but he said, okay, I didn't smile on the outside, but I smiled on the inside, so you win the shirt. So anyway, and I'm like, yes! I felt such a sense of victory. Yes, I did it. I did it. I did what no one else could do. I did it. So I finally got to go to this haunted house. I got to take my shot at making this guy smile. And even though I failed, well, he was a good-hearted guy, and he gave us the victory. It was a moral victory, I guess. You know, he got the on-paper victory, but we got a moral victory. So anyway, that's how it happened. And we got back in the car and drove back to Auburn and told that story a million times. And it was just a fun night. So anyway, so that's it.
You told me this story, and I sometimes when I hear stories that are so old, if I have gaps, I'll just make up my own gaps to the story.
Okay.
So then I've told this story to people, and it happened at the Haunted Mansion at Disney World where it happened. And the guy, remember the movie, those people, they're real serious. Come in the dead center of the room. So then you and her, she showed her yummies to the guy.
Right.
But then when you guys came out, he goes, and this is me telling your story wrongly. And I go, I would like to see those again, please.
You know what? Maybe I should add that to the story.
Yeah, I said that. We're like, really? He said that? Yeah, he came up to Trish and said, let me.
That would definitely be icing on the cake. Okay. But that night was so fun. And the way it I mean, in a million years, I would have never predicted it was going to happen the way that it all happened. And it was just a really fun time. And I remember it. It's been 42 years now, but I remember it like it just happened yesterday because it was just so, just etched in my mind forever. I guess.
One of the reasons
it would be better if you still had the shirt too.
That's true. Yeah. Oh, let me also add this real quick. Trish, if you happen to watch this, nothing but props and respect to you for doing what you did. And you won the t-shirt. I had the idea, but you did the dirty work. So
you know why this works? Because she was one of these girls. She was always switched on to fun.
Right. She was. She absolutely was.
Milo, like one night, we were at the what was that place out on it was past the Hungry Hunter. Anyway, you and me and Scott Elmore went there right when I was going through like that very first night I was in so I was like 16. I haven't even turned 17 yet. And I was dancing. And so Trish said, okay, come dance with me. And she put her hands on my butt while she was dancing. And I was like, oh my God, this girl is super hot. And I was like super excited.
Right.
And she was always fun. Then I went out and I don't know if you remember this. I vomited all over this guy's car. And the guy started getting mad. And Kenny was big back then. And the guy, and all of a sudden you came out. And the guy goes, oh, okay. Yeah. The guy was totally like, I'm going to fight Kenny. And then Kenny carried me up 3 flights of stairs.
I did.
And put me in bed. I woke up. How did I get here? I have no idea. I'm like, I didn't walk up those stairs. I know that much.
Yeah.
And Kenny carried me up the stairs.
Yeah. Those were the days. And that's Trish. She was always a lot of fun, and she was always on board. If you had an idea, let's do it. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I vomited all those guys Trans Am. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve.
I was gonna say this story gave me feelings to tie it to classic rock. It gave me vibes of Uneasy Rider from Charlie Daniels.
Oh, that's a pretty cool thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the story's not relating. I mean it's not the same story, but it's a very kind of fish out of water and
right. Yeah,
it's just
takes
fun.
place in the South. I don't know, but that's what I was thinking of.
Steve's right. Let's write a classic song about it.
Yeah, we should. Well, and I just want to add this real quick for anybody who may see this video, and I'm going to send it out to a few people who I know don't normally watch the classic rock videos, but please leave comments. And I hope that the story was fun and entertaining and all that. So please leave comments, or if you've had something similar or whatever, please write your story. We'd love to hear it. So.
Yeah, no, it was, hold on. I'm not sure we name people's names. I don't think they want it, but the guy that Kenny's talking about, a fraternity, I worked in Hollywood for some. And I'm getting good at it now because I practiced it. But this guy was a savant from birth. Scott M. Let's just call him.
Yeah.
The guy, there was nothing. And what was pissed me off was he could, like, later on, you say, well, remember that guy said this? And he goes, and he would then smile.
Right.
But, he thought it was funny. He just didn't react.
Yeah. He was superhuman. His ability to hold a straight face. Yeah. Never seen anything like it.
Because I've been at some of these ceremonies where like the neophyte will say something incredibly stupid, but it's incredibly funny, and people will literally collapse on the ground of comedy. You can't help it. It's like in church. You're in church. You're trying not to laugh when someone says the stupidest joke you've ever heard, and you giggle. It's not funny. It's something about the tension of it. And he's serious.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so this guy was just like a savant. Like people would say, at this certain ceremony, is Scott M going to be there tonight? Yeah, then I'm coming. Brothers who were like, brothers were like in their graduate school, they would come to watch him say stuff. And he would make up the most ridiculous stories. Ad lib, and you're like,
yeah, he had a gift. No question about it.
Oh my God. It was a gift.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, so, I said this would probably take 15 minutes. I was wrong. It took up the entire 30 minutes. So if anybody has any like final comments, or if you any other classic rock relevance, please add that now. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and wrap it up.
No, Halloween stories are all, I don't know what it is about that holiday. They're always cool and funny. Like Steve and I, there was this woman where we went to film school, and she bred Kayshons, those damn little hairy ass dogs. And so me and her go to her house, and you walk in the house. Remember, I was an air conditioner repairman for 4 years. So I walked to people's houses for a living, and the stench of the dog smell was like, oh my Lord Jesus, get me out of here. I'll do anything, God. Just get me out of here. So she was like, we went in there to get her, and she started describing how like her and her friend, they would breed them. And when I say breed them, they made them do those things that require, procreation. I'm like, hold it. Did you just say that you helped this dog with another dog? Yes, that's what you have to do. And I'm like, and I'm kind of doing it to get Steve, to see if I can make Steve laugh. And Steve and I are both like, half of us is nervous energy. But I don't know if it is about.
I think we're like, I want to get the hell out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we had to spend the whole night with her. Not the whole night.
Yeah, but because we went to horror
Halloween,
nights, didn't we?
Yeah, with her.
Yeah.
Right. She's a really nice lady. I really like her. But I'm just saying, when you go to somebody's house, you have no idea what world you're going to head into, right? Like,
man, that was 25, 26 years ago. I forgot all about that.
Dude, I was just, when he said Halloween, it triggered that night when me and you took her. And Halloween's it's like, I told you I dated this woman for a while, and her and I were going to go on Halloween, and she lived in this house. The parents were wealthy, and he had broken his back like 4 places on a car crash, racing like an idiot. And they had rejiggered their entire house. So the guy was in a wheelchair, okay? And he could go around the entire house except for my girlfriend's room. They never widened that door. Hint, hint, they don't want him going in her bedroom. Right. So we're like, okay, where are we going to do a haunted house? Like, oh, there's a really good one. All of a sudden, you can hear this guy wheeling. He's wheeling around the house. All of a sudden, wham! He hits the door, and he can't get in. He goes, I want to go. I want to go. And she's like, you can't walk. Right. And he's like, well, yeah, but I can do the wheelchairs. He goes, they're not set up for wheelchairs. So the next 20 minutes, we're arguing with this guy. And like every time I think I told you, he was an ex-bodybuilder. And if I talked about lifting, he would wheel around the house. You could hear him coming, like his wheelchair wasn't oiled properly. So you could hear him coming, and he would, every single time he would hit that door, and you're like, oh my God, you've been in this chair for 5 years. When are you going to figure out you can't get through the door? Anyway. So
that's like a recurring character on a sitcom.
I know. And the guy was like, oh yeah, it was bad. Like it was awesome. Like you can't dream up stuff. Like we talk about movies, and like if Kenny had this story of like, no, he didn't do that. He didn't come out and give her the t-shirt, right? Or this guy was running around the house with a wheelchair and slamming into the door, and oh my God.
No, that was a great story, Kenny. I had never heard that before. So
yeah. Well, even if it had just been him staring us down and it never went any further than that, it's still a pretty cool story. But him giving her the t-shirt, it was awesome because, he went from serial killer to a guy with a heart who appreciates, he was appreciating the effort, even though he wasn't going to show it. Yeah.
Well, the other thing is, I was the one who remembered this, because I'm the one who told you. It was funny is about human nature. A lot of times when you're in a story, you could tell the story, but then it's about our brains versus if we watch a story. So when you told me the story, remember there was a show last week, I said, oh, that's right. And then tell them about it triggered my mind about that with you and Trish, right? It's always cool. It's funny when Kenny or Steve tell stories about me where I was in the store and I kind of remember it, but I don't remember saying all the things they say, how I say. But it's, this is what's fun about things, because other people, it's cool. I'm glad you got to tell the story.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and wrap this up because since we're not really talking about classic rock anyway, but that was the bonus edition. I guess we'll just call that. So hopefully you got a little storytelling entertainment out of that. So for tonight, this is the bonus edition of the Great Classic Rock Debate. I'm Kenny.
I'm Paul.
I'm Steve.
And well, I won't go through all the other stuff, but until we meet again, we will see you next time.